Top 10 deadliest viruses in the world. 10. Marburg virus. Scientists identified Marburg virus in 1967 when small outbreaks occurred among lab workers in Germany who were exposed to infected monkeys imported from Uganda. Marburg virus is similar to Ebola in that both can cause hemorrhagic fever, meaning that infected people develop high fevers and bleeding throughout the body that can lead to shock, organ failure and death. The mortality rate in the first outbreak was 25%, but it was more than 80% in the 1998 to 2000 outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as in the 2005 outbreak in Angola, according to the World Health Organization. 9. Ebola virus. The first known Ebola outbreaks in humans struck simultaneously in the Republic of the Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1976. Ebola is spread through contact with blood or other body fluids or tissue from infected people or animals. The known strains vary dramatically in their deadliness, Elke Mulberger, an Ebola virus expert and associate professor of microbiology at Boston University, told Live Science. One strain, Ebola reston, doesn't even make people sick. But for the Bundibugyo strain, the fatality rate is up to 50% and it is up to 71% for the Sudan strain, according to WHO. 8. Rabies. Although rabies vaccines for pets, which were introduced in the 1920s, have helped make the disease exceedingly rare in the developed world, this condition remains a serious problem in India and parts of Africa. It destroys the brain, it's a really bad disease, Mulberger said. We have a vaccine against rabies, and we have antibodies that work against rabies, so if someone gets bitten by a rabid animal we can treat this person, she said. However, she said, if you don't get treatment, there's a 100% possibility you will die. 7. HIV. In the modern world, the deadliest virus of all may be HIV. It is still the one that is the biggest killer, said Dr. Ramesh Adalja, an infectious disease physician and spokesman for the Infectious Disease Society of America. An estimated 32 million people have died from HIV since the disease was first recognized in the early 1980s. The infectious disease that takes the biggest toll on mankind right now is HIV, Adalja said. Powerful antiviral drugs have made it possible for people to live for years with HIV. But the disease continues to devastate many low and middle income countries, where 95% of new HIV infections occur. 6. Smallpox. In 1980, the World Health Assembly declared the world free of smallpox. But before that, humans battled smallpox for thousands of years, and the disease killed about 1 in 3 of those it infected. It left survivors with deep permanent scars and, often, blindness. Mortality rates were far higher in populations outside of Europe, where people had little contact with the virus before visitors brought it to their regions. For example, historians estimate 90% of the native population of the Americas died from smallpox introduced by European explorers. In the 20th century alone, smallpox killed 300 million people. It was something that had a huge burden on the planet, not just death but also blindness, and that's what spurred the campaign to eradicate from the earth, Adalja said. 5. Hantavirus. Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome first gained wide attention in the US in 1993 when a healthy, young Navajo man and his fiancée living in the Four Corners area of the United States died within days of developing shortness of breath. A few months later, health authorities isolated hantavirus from a deer mouse living in the home of one of the infected people. More than 600 people in the US have now contracted HPS, and 36% have died from the disease, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Previously, a different hantavirus caused an outbreak in the early 1950s during the Korean War, according to a 2010 paper in the journal Clinical Microbiology Reviews. 4. Influenza. During a typical flu season, up to 500,000 people worldwide will die from the illness, according to WHO. But occasionally, when a new flu strain emerges, a pandemic results with a faster spread of disease and, often, higher mortality rates. The most deadly flu pandemic, sometimes called the Spanish flu, began in 1918 and sickened up to 40% of the world's population, killing an estimated 50 million people. I think that it is possible that something like the 1918 flu outbreak could occur again, Mulberger said. If a new influenza strain found its way in the human population and could be transmitted easily between humans and caused severe illness, we would have a big problem. 3. Dengue. Dengue virus first appeared in the 1950s in the Philippines and Thailand and has since spread throughout the tropical and subtropical regions of the globe. Up to 40% of the world's population now lives in areas where dengue is endemic, and the disease with the mosquitoes that carry it is likely to spread farther as the world warms. Dengue sickens 50 to 100 million people a year, according to WHO. Although the mortality rate for dengue fever is lower than some other viruses, at 2.5%, the virus can cause an Ebola-like disease called dengue hemorrhagic fever, and that condition has a mortality rate of 20% if left untreated. We really need to think more about dengue virus because it is a real threat to us, Muhlberger said. A vaccine for dengue was approved in 2019 by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for use in children 9 to 16 years old living in areas where dengue is common and with a confirmed history of virus infection, according to the CDC. In some countries, an approved vaccine is available for those 9 to 45 years old, but again, recipients must have contracted a confirmed case of dengue in the past. Those who have not caught the virus before could be put at risk of developing severe dengue if given the vaccine. 2. Rotavirus 2 vaccines are now available to protect children from rotavirus, the leading cause of severe diarrheal illness among babies and young children. The virus can spread rapidly through what researchers call the fecal-oral route. Although children in the developed world rarely die from rotavirus infection, the disease is a killer in the developing world, where rehydration treatments are not widely available. The WHO estimates that worldwide, 453,000 children younger than age 5 died from rotavirus infection in 2008. But countries that have introduced a vaccine have reported sharp declines in rotavirus hospitalizations and deaths. 1. Coronaviruses. Coronaviruses are a group of RNA viruses that cause diseases in mammals and birds. In humans and birds, they cause respiratory tract infections that can range from mild to lethal. Mild illnesses in humans include some cases of the common cold, which is also caused by other viruses, predominantly rhinoviruses, while more lethal varieties can cause SARS, MERS, and COVID-19. In cows and pigs they cause diarrhea, while in mice they cause hepatitis and encephalomyelitis. There are as yet no vaccines or antiviral drugs to prevent or treat human coronavirus infections. Coronaviruses constitute the subfamily Orthocoronavirinae in the family Coronaviridae, order Nidovirales, and realm Riboviria. They are enveloped viruses with a positive sense single-stranded RNA genome and a nucleocapsid of helical symmetry. The genome size of coronaviruses ranges from approximately 26 to 32 kilobases, one of the largest among RNA viruses. They have characteristic club-shaped spikes that project from their surface, which in electron micrographs create an image reminiscent of the solar corona, from which their name derives. So friends, this is the top 10 most deadliest viruses in the world. Hope you all enjoy the video, give like, comment below, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe.